Hey, I'm Elliot, and he's John.
Hi, I'm John, and he's Elliot, and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. The Pop and Lockdown is the episode title today.
That's the official episode
The
title.
Pop and Lockdown.
The Pop and Lockdown. And why does that work? Why is that so relevant?
I'm just going to explain what's happened. We did a bit before this where we were thinking of an episode name, and then we decided that we would use that, and now we're going to explain it, and we decided that we didn't explain it. So here we are.
Because all the best comedians break down their jokes straight away. After
Yeah, this is our logic that this is funny. So it's the Pop and Lockdown. We're in lockdown, of course. That's why lockdown. Yeah. Pop and lock is a dance move, which is the pun. Genius, I know.
That was explained so brilliantly.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I'm drinking pop. But don't call it. I don't really call it pop though, do I? I just call it a fizzy drink.
No, nobody
so
in England.
Pop,
really
as in
pop.
our music is pop music.
Our music is pop music. We're a pop band.
We're pop. Yeah.
Well, I think
Pop
calling
and
it a
Lockdown.
popular band is going a bit far.
Okay.
But again, if we have any listeners right now, thank you.
Yes, because we're gaining we're gaining nothing. You're gaining nothing from this, but you're gaining knowledge of us, which is realistically it's going to be the future currency.
Yeah, you'll come to understand me and John a little bit better.
Yeah.
Hopefully you listened to our first podcast.
Maybe you watched a thumbnail of the YouTube video for half an hour.
Yeah. I hope you weren't watching it for like half an hour waiting for something to change.
Yeah, that would have been
Or maybe, just in case people have done that, maybe we should put a little animation in it. Because
because I won't have made it yet, so it will be. Yeah. It could just be a rotating GIF again, like the music video.
Yeah. I think it's very, very confusing. I think just to explain, we're recording episode 2 immediately after episode 1. They will go up. There'll be a time difference of a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So you'll be listening to this after, several weeks after maybe the first one. Maybe several years. Maybe you've waited years and years to hear this.
Maybe you missed the second one and you've got to episode 50 and then you realise there's a second one.
Yeah. Or maybe you're re-listening. Maybe you're one of those weird people that just re-listens to a podcast again and again. I never understand that. It's like finding a new podcast. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But why ever you're here, why ever you're listening to the sound of our voices right now, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you. We do. We appreciate that a lot.
So we are recording this episode immediately after the first episode. So we apologise for anyone who has had a serious toasty filling suggestion. Because we won't have got round to it yet.
That's true.
It will be maybe in the next, although we might record the next episode after this as well. So it may be in episode 4 that or 5. We don't know how long this could go on.
It's go on all night. We might not actually make the next episode for a long time.
So we apologise for any toasty filling questions or delay.
But it will carry over. If you have a favourite toasty that you would like us to try, or even a ridiculous toasty that you'd like us to try, comment it down on YouTube in the comment section, or stick it in a DM to our Instagram, or stick it in a DM to one of us, or just shout it really loud out the window. We might hear you.
Just might.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking more on the fact that I think our only fans are my mum.
And also, because air pollution is down because of lockdown, you can hear
for
miles
sound
now.
Goes further, and that is a brilliant little snaky pathway into the topic that we want to go into today, and that is lockdown.
Yeah.
And coronavirus and COVID-19 and all of these things that have been bringing so much misery into the world, and we just want to talk about that.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll do it a bit differently from other people.
We don't want to get political. We'll say that now. We don't want to.
No.
We don't. You're not here to hear that, and we're not here to say that.
It's good. Those combinations, they work quite well.
To be honest, I don't know what people are here to hear. What are they expecting? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Probably not what you're getting, but I hope you're enjoying anyway.
I'm pretty sure we commented on the previous podcast, which was 20 minutes ago. But we weren't gonna talk about like random stuff.
Yeah.
It's not worked.
We will never get through an entire podcast without going off the tracks at least once. Like, we're going to end up talking nonsense at some point. And if you really can't stand that, then this probably isn't the podcast for you. But again, we're grateful if you are listening. Thank you, and we really hope we can give you something that's a bit entertaining.
Yeah. So lockdown. Let's start from the start. Our immediate reactions to lockdown. What was yours?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think in probably mid to late January, we started to get. Oh, pardon me. We started to get catch wind of this like virus that was kind of sweeping through parts of Asia. I think specifically it was China.
I'm sorry,
wasn't it?
I just started laughing, but you went, oh, pardon me, and then you said "pass wind" in the next sentence.
Oh, did I?
I just broke up.
Oh man.
Oh, it just got to me. So you're making such a serious point.
It's late at night for you, isn't it? Right now.
It's not even that.
It's night for everybody. But...
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. You're making a really serious point. We may have to start over now.
So you maybe even cut this down, cut it out. So it was about mid to late January. We started hearing about this virus that was sweeping through China and parts of Asia. And I remember immediately there were some people in England, just the kind of people who really panic about everything. Yeah. And it was really getting to them. I remember one of my flatmates in particular, bless him, he was very concerned about it straight away. And immediately, I'll be completely honest, to me, that seemed nonsense because it wasn't in England at the time. And I'd never heard of anything like this happening. It's never happened in our lifetime. It's not really ever happened in the history of humanity. Like something, it sounds dramatic, but that's the truth. Yeah. We've never dealt with something like this as the human race, not in modern terms, civilization anyway. And I just remember finding it laughable, to be honest. I thought it was silly. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And I mean, that soon turned around when things, we realised that we would have to maybe stop the university year or the schooling year or whatever. And I remember the day. Sorry, I've realised that I've done a lot of talking. I'll pass on to you in a second. But I remember the day where we got the news. I was living my life in Birmingham at university, and I just heard somebody said, "Oh my gosh, do you know that university might close? This might be the end of the year for us." And it was mid-March, and it was crazy. And me and my mates just carried on doing our thing. We were, doing what well, no, we're not typical students, really, are we? We go out every night and play pool in a pool club. But we went out and played pool, and we had a good time, and we didn't really think much of this. And then suddenly, later on that evening, we got an email from the university telling us that was it for the year. Uni's out. We're not coming back till September. And it was weird. And then I had to go and kind of, go back to my halls of residence, go to sleep, and think, this is possibly my last night sleeping here. I was prepared for another few months. And it was very bizarre and very jarring. And though I ultimately kind of got over it or dealt with it, I'll be completely honest, it really threw me, made me feel disconcerted and very unsure at first. So what about you? When you first started to hear about this thing, what were your thoughts on it? How did it change anything for you?
It was very interesting. So I don't live at home with my parents. I'm in the same city, but I'm in a house with some other interns who work in churches as well. And so I was like, are they going to either make me go home because of it, or what's going to happen there? Is the whole internship thing going to stop? Obviously for me it's a bit different because I'm in the city where I'm working anyway with my parents, so I could have kept going. But I think the weirdest thing was how quickly everything started getting shut down for me. Because I don't think it was immediately when we first heard about it, because everything was just sort of the same. But I think it only took about a week for us to completely shut the church stop services, stop like any sort of meeting of like anyone, even the staff team. So it was, I think it was like one of the Mondays we had a meeting, like I think they were calling them Cobra meetings.
Yeah.
And we had a meeting to sort of plan what we're going to do pastorally in case of a like lockdown situation.
Oh, wow.
And then I think it was 2 days later, and there were no more services. Like,
Yeah.
it went
It,
from literally like, oh, we might have to like sanitize people coming into church, to there's no church on Sunday.
yeah, it was so sudden, wasn't it? Everything, and it just felt unreal. It felt like a kind of a practical joke or something. Like
Oh
somebody
yeah,
suggested that we might not be able to keep going to uni, and they suggested that like we might. I remember finding it so like I thought it was a joke when they said like you might we might go into what we're going to call lockdown, where you're going to have to stay at home, like you are not going to be able to go out.
yeah,
And it just seems so surreal. And we're, how many? We're like 9 weeks deep into lockdown now, and we're starting to just get more used to it, which is great. And
yeah.
obviously, we've got to look at it positively. But like, it's still a very strange concept. Like, if you think about it, it's bizarre. Nothing like this has happened to us before. Probably won't ever happen again.
No, no, it's very weird.
And it is
For sure.
incredibly weird. But
Yeah.
to look at some positives, I mean, in like what you just said there, churches, the way that church has continued
Mm.
is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's just it's spread the reach of what church can do because it's just accessible. There's no like,
Yeah,
um, this what was the figure, like 1 in 4 adults are
yeah,
watching tuning in, and it's the idea that it's just accessible. There's no pressure to like have to walk into a building, or like,
yeah,
there won't be. I guess it's part of Christians where they always have to greet new people, like, oh, there's a new person
yeah,
in the church, make it, and which is a
yeah,
really annoying sort of buzz and thing that churches do,
yeah,
because it's trying to be welcoming, but it's also like too eager, you know.
yeah. I
Uh,
know what you mean.
so
It's kind of
with
it's
the
friendly,
online,
but it can be too much.
yeah,
Yeah,
and with the online, there's none of that pressure to walk in somewhere. So I think
mm,
it's just made it a lot easier to do and a lot
yeah,
easier to reach people.
yeah. So yeah, for anyone listening who's not like entirely aware what we're talking about, basically, because obviously church services have been stopped, like most of everything at the minute. Churches are broadcasting services live on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. They're doing a live stream where the vicar of a church or a teacher at a church is standing in their house, filming themselves, teaching from the Bible, teaching Christian sermons and things,
Yeah.
and it's going up. And but they're also putting on the worship set as well. So they're having
Hmm.
musicians from their own homes playing worship and leading worship songs. Um, and yeah, like you mentioned, the number of people who have been tuning in is amazing. It's been like a far, far higher number than the population, the percentage of the population who would normally go to church.
Yeah.
Um,
And that means
and
it's just because it's not restricted by a building.
yeah, exactly. And it sums up that phrase really that church is not. I'm going to sound like a kind of hipster middle-aged vicar man now, but
Oh yeah.
church is not the building. It's
Yeah.
really not. It's the community, and it's um the involvement. It's
Yeah.
being involved in the teaching and the worship and all of that. That's what church is. And so
Yeah.
to be able to go on it online is absolutely just as much going to church as walking into an old building
Yeah. Which is
or a new
actually a
building.
great lesson for the church to learn, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there was a real big push to try and get out of our church buildings, and
Mm,
like it's been in the way, like, not in a way we were expecting, obviously, but it is still getting out of the building and becoming something that's not restricted by that, which is
yeah.
awesome, really.
Yeah, definitely. So lockdown it has changed our lives, but like we've kind of said a little bit before, we look at it very positively,
Yeah.
because we are able to come back to. I've come back to Birmingham. Sorry, I've come back from Birmingham to my family home in Leicester. I'm living with my mum and my dad, my brother who is 16, and then my sister who just turned 11 yesterday, and then my your other sister who is 6 years old. And, so it's a proper big family home. We all get on, we're all very close. And I don't want to take that for granted by being
Mm.
miserable. And I know absolutely what we're going through is like beyond kind of what we could have imagined how we could have imagined this year going. And, I understand people being quite miserable about it, but I don't want to take for granted the time I've got with my family, the time I've got to just work on myself, to just kind of refresh myself and just rest up,
Mm.
Um, and
Yeah.
it's not really affected my uni year too much because I do English literature and all the work is it's writing essays and writing creative writing and stuff. And so obviously it's different not having the interactive stuff with people. It's a shame that we can't have that, but I can still do all of that writing essays and things on my laptop
Mm.
in my bedroom in Leicester. It hasn't made a negative impact on that at all, and that's all been submitted, and my year is now over at uni, so I don't have to think about that at all, which is another thing I don't want to take for granted. I've got through my first year of uni. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. How are you spending time at the minute? What are you doing day to day?
So obviously I work for a church, so I'm still working to some capacity. A lot more this week. I'm doing the services and recording worship and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still at work, but it's such a different like environment. It's just obviously it's my house.
Yeah.
So it's
Have you? Sorry, go on.
so working from my room's kind of weird in that
Yeah.
it's hard to keep work and my room separate, like
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's
I
more
know
the
what you
fact that
mean.
it's like a Zoom meeting rather than a normal meeting is so strange.
Yeah.
It's just so different.
Mm.
So I
Oh
guess
my.
next year is gonna look a bit different now.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we still don't know how next year will look.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right. It will look different.
I mean, because next year we'll still be transitioning from back to normal life, I guess, a little bit.
That's it.
So
Yeah, yeah. At the earliest that this could possibly go back to normal, it will still even at that point, it would still have quite a big impact, wouldn't it, on the next academic year?
yeah,
Um, so like I heard a rumor the other day, and it's not been confirmed or anything by anybody, but I did hear this rumor that universities might try and hold off until January for like
really.
going back. Yeah, so apparently all my teaching would start up again in September,
Okay.
but it would all be online.
Right.
So I don't know what that means in terms of like whether I could go and live in because obviously right now I'm back with my family in Leicester. So we have already sorted out, me and a few friends have sorted out a student house that we're supposed to be moving into from like August, September time. Um, but if uni doesn't require us to actually be in Birmingham until January, is there any need for me to go back, or would I want to go back? Or,
Yeah.
that's the decisions I'm having to kind of think about right now. I don't know whether I'll have to make them because I don't know if uni will hold off until January, but
Yeah.
yeah, that would be quite a big decision for me, whether I go back to Birmingham just to do my course online or whether I stay in Leicester.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I guess music wise is gonna be it's gonna be interesting because if
Yeah.
you're here, it'll be very easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And I'll honestly, that will have a huge part to play in my decision. If we can really get the ball rolling and get some recordings done and get a plan to put out some more music as soon as possible, then I will definitely want to stick around. And that again, this is all we can take so many positives from all of this. That could be an amazing blessing, really, to
yeah,
have that amount of time to still, because I'd still be continuing with my degree. I'd still be getting through those months that I would be if I was in Birmingham just
yeah,
online, but also being able to lend more of my actual time to physically be with you, to write music in a room together and to
yeah,
record together and get things done.
yeah.
And we can hopefully get more out
Yeah, so for
because,
the people listening, we might have some little like acoustic jam things going on, I guess, or
yeah,
something like
we
that.
want to. Yeah, we want to put things out, and I mean, obviously, we're going to be putting out more proper studio recorded sessions and singles and things as
Yeah.
well. Um, our debut song just came out last week. Or well, I don't know when this is podcast going to go up. Our debut single came out on the 15th of May.
Yeah.
And as of the time that this podcast has gone up, I don't think we've released anything else yet. Very unlikely.
Very unlikely.
Very, very unlikely. It's hard to record to a good level in lockdown.
Yeah.
With the equipment we have, which is next to none. But that's the goal. Musically, we want to put out more, don't we? Really?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a band. That's what bands.
The main aim, really, other than telling people our messages. Actually, we have to get the music out to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to make podcasts for most of this time, but it's all good.
I would imagine that the majority of people listening are probably listening because they're a bit interested in our music. That's probably how they know us.
Yeah.
And so to actually talk about that a little bit more, our music plans are. I mean, the big goal within the next year, within the next 12 months, we want to put out an EP. And, should everything go to plan, we could even be doing more than that. We could do an EP plus a few singles on the side, or we could even do 2 EPs. It depends how everything works out. And lockdown, coronavirus has kind of skewed our ability to kind of form any real plans, get anything actually lined up. But we are absolutely confident that we'll get more out. I think we'll certainly have more out before the end of the year. And we have the songs written as well, don't we?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that they're already written. It's not like we've got to go through the songwriting process again, which took a few months.
Yeah,
it's more just about starting up and getting good enough demos to go and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, that's it. So our next goal, as soon as we come out of lockdown, with a couple of our friends, we're gonna record good sounding demos, good quality demos of a handful of the songs that we've already written. And then with those demos, we can go to a few of our friends who produce music and we can show them, and providing they like them enough and they're willing to work with us, we can begin to work on some of these songs. And then with, our friends will help us produce them to a really great level, hopefully, like the first song we've put out, which Icon did, which was Dave Hendra and Dave Pilcher. So that's the goal musically. We wrote that handful of songs that I'm referring to last year, didn't we? So they're really they're really aging now. They've become almost a year old.
Yeah.
But we're still passionate about them. The songs that we wrote back almost a year ago, we were really proud of them, and we really like people to hear them. And we put a lot of effort in, a lot of ourselves into them. And we wrote a handful of them, the lyrics are all based on the book of Ephesians in the Bible.
Yeah.
And that's a project we'd love to put together. We'd love to put together an EP of songs based on Ephesians, I think. Because that would be really cool.
Call it EP.
Oh, that's clever. Oh, that's clever. You've just heard the moment that something genius has just been invented.
Well, other than the pop and lockdown, but
yeah, you're full of them. That's why you're in my band, because I don't.
Your band, okay. Ooh, we're gonna have some trouble.
Yeah, off air, we're gonna have a big row after this.
Yeah. No, we've established that we're apologists.
Yeah, that's it. We had a bit of an argument this morning. Not even an argument, was it?
Just a disagreement, really. I think I was just confused. Very confused.
Yeah, that was it. It was confusion on both ends. But basically, what happened was this morning, John woke up and he noticed that one of our YouTube videos had vanished, and texted me and said, "Where's it gone? What's happened to our video?" And I had no idea. So I just replied with I don't know. Like, I didn't really put much in it. I was confused, and I felt like I was being accused.
Yeah,
so I was
slightly.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, there's two people that have access to the channel, and it wasn't me. So I was like,
that's true.
My immediate response was, did Elliot delete it?
Yeah, and I was just like, what? But I didn't give much. I was just very sharp with you, and rightly so. You came back a bit sharp as well. And then I was just like a grumpy kid. I just sat down in a huff, and I was like, I'm ignoring his message now. And I just went to stay off my phone for a couple of minutes, and then I was like, this is childish. I've got to respond. And yeah, I think like any normal friends, we do argue and we do get annoyed at each other, but we do apologize and we forgive each other, and we've never done anything unforgivable, have we? I don't think there's such thing. I think we would forgive. I think this is the way that we really believe in forgiveness. I think that's such a strong thing for us. I would always seek to forgive you. Not just you, anybody really, but
That's how
but
Christians
specifically you.
go about life generally.
Yeah, exactly. It's an important thing to do, is to forgive.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a really clever like segue back into the kind of coronavirus topic about forgiveness.
It's not
but
really
without being political. Just forgive people if they're being weird. Like forgive people if they're going out in masks, and because they're just But equally, if you're going out in masks, forgive people who aren't going out in masks.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, nobody has said that masks do or don't work. So just forgive people who have a different opinion to you. It's an uncertain time. Nobody knows what's going on. Boris doesn't know what's going on. Oh, I can't get political. Nobody knows what's going on.
We're just people in a world full of masks and not masks, and we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, and there is that poetic tongue of John Madden's once again. We're in a world of masks and not masks.
Yeah.
And a world of bats that might give us things, but they also might not, because we don't actually know that.
Yeah.
And we all think we're clever, and some of us are, but some of us aren't, and we think we are, and some of us aren't.
This is getting out of hand. Or in hand, whichever one you want to pick.
You get my point. It's just like... On
a serious note, I think there's a big stigma about we've got to encourage each other because we've got to all be all right. But I think it's okay to be not all right with. I think if you can get into the position or the mindset of actually, I'm okay with feeling not great right now because that's the time we're in. Then that's good. Cause,
absolutely. And I think as well for us as well as Christians with this faith that we have, I think. It's okay to not feel okay, because at the end of the day, God's still got your back. Like, God's not deserted us during this period.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too deep or too kind of philosophical, because like we've said enough times, we don't want to get like...
Yeah. I think that there's always something you can learn from the situation. God's put it here for a reason, or he's using it. If he's not,
he's using it. That's the way of putting it.
So
he can use it. He can turn this for good.
Yeah, so I think you can definitely learn something. Often it's you'll notice you'll be getting angry at something more, and really that's your challenge to get through. It's not there just to annoy you.
We can learn a lot about ourselves. We all react to things, and especially when we're cooped up in houses, we're reacting to things that we've never had to experience before, and we learn that we don't like certain things. I've learned that I don't like my sister. No, I'm joking. I've learned... I hope she's not listening. I hope she is listening, bless her, but I also hope she's not offended by what I just said. I love my sister. But they don't know which one I'm talking about, so I'm all right.
Yeah, they'll have a fight over it now, but...
I'm clever. But no, I've learned that I get really frustrated by people who eat really loudly, but also tell you to turn the volume down on the TV, so that you then can't hear the TV because you can hear them chewing.
Okay.
What is that about? Oh man, that annoys me so much.
I can tell.
But this is the thing. I would never have learned that otherwise. But because I'm trapped with my family every day at the minute, I'm learning these little things, and it's not their fault.
No,
they just do these very annoying little things, but it's not their fault. And it's about forgiveness, and it's about learning how to better yourself by forgiving, because forgiving it's about bettering yourself as much as anything else. It's a good practice for your own mental health. You feel better about yourself if you can let go of things and forgive people.
Yeah.
And I guess an important disclaimer to give is that I'm not great at forgiving people every time. Like, it's not always easy.
Oh yeah, it's
And I'm
not
sure
always
you'd
easy.
agree with that. It's certainly not always easy, especially when the person you've got to forgive has no remorse. That's a difficult thing to handle.
Mm.
Maybe this is a topic we should actually look at in a different episode
Yeah,
sometime.
there's a lot more you can go into here. So
Yeah, there's a whole lot here. But yeah, at the end of the day, for your own sake, if for no other reason, it's good to try and forgive people, to try and understand that everybody makes silly, silly mistakes.
yeah,
Like turning the TV down whilst they're chewing on something really loud. So annoying.
what
And
was
the
the loud
alternative,
thing? That's
oh,
what I don't know why I'm
what
curious.
was,
What was the loud thing they were
what was the
chewing on?
loud thing? If I were to guess, I'd probably say cement. Uh, I don't know. I think it was. Oh, I can't remember. It was like it was maybe toast, like crusty toast, or it was like Maltesers or something. I can't remember.
Two
I won't
very
specify.
ranging things there: toast or Maltesers.
Yes, but they're two things that I know this person eats.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not going to specify which family member it was. They'll all be wondering now who's done this. But you know the other thing that annoys me. I'm just outing my family right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just ripping into your family as they're locked
The other
in
thing
there
that
with you.
annoys me, what annoys me immensely is that rather than turning the volume up a tiny bit, they just put the subtitles on.
Oh,
Ah, I hate it. I hate it. I study English literature. I have to read books all the time. I don't want to have to read when I sit down to watch TV.
yeah.
Like I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do just as a force of habit. I pause the TV. I get a yellow highlighter and I start colouring in the screen, picking out the pronouns and the adverbials.
Yeah.
It's flipping. It's a
I
nightmare.
can tell how that would be a problem.
Yeah,
Like they're only up
exactly.
there for a couple seconds. You're like, oh, flip, I gotta rub it out and go to the next one, and then
It's a nightmare. It's like a whiteboard, but it moves too fast. Oh, flipping heck!
yeah,
It's a complete calamity. But I think that the nonsense that we're talking is a great symbol that we should wrap up the episode.
probably, yeah,
I think we've got a good length of talking here.
yeah,
um, I can't speak eloquently anymore. I'm frustrated at silly things. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to forgive. I'm going to forgive whoever does the annoying things that
okay,
annoy
yeah,
me a
yeah.
lot.
You can do that. You
Yeah.
can work on it at least.
I'm going to get off the podcast and I'm going to work on that by
Yeah,
myself. I'm going to sit in a dark room
awesome.
and just work on it.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's been good to talk to you, John Madden.
it's been good to talk to you, Elliot Wilson.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
as always.
We'll get another one of these up as soon as we can. We're very grateful again to anybody that's listened all the way through this episode.
Yeah.
And if you've not heard the first one, go back and have a listen because it's just an introduction, really.
Yeah,
Just tells you what these podcasts are going to be. They're not all going to be necessarily like this one. I think more often than not, we're going to have a guest with us as well. So it won't just be us talking our way through some random points. It's going to be slightly more structured. We're new to this.
Yeah.
We'll learn how to get better at it, how to
Yeah.
get more interesting. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening again. If you've watched the first one, but thanks for listening for the first time if you're just watching this one. But thanks again if you watched the other.
And thanks for listening if you have listened several times through and you've come back to listen.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening if you have just randomly chosen this episode out of all of the episodes that we've put out, which at this time might be 2, might be 52, might be 592. But if it is that many, I would probably ask why John and I haven't gone and got real jobs yet.
10 years is it's quite a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, we should probably be like doing more serious things.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. And I suppose cue outro. I've been Elliot, he's been John.
I've been John, he's been Elliot.
And this has been the Still More Show, episode 2.
We'll see you next time.